पूरा परिवार बहुत सीधा था, धार्मिक।
वो धार्मिक तो पड़ोसी बता देंगे आपको, वो ऐसे थे ही नहीं, भगत बलदेव थे इतने।
7 दिन बड़ पूजा लगातार करना है, घर पर कोई आए तो अंदर मुंह की पड़ाना है।
So picture this. It's the morning of July 1st, 2018, in a quiet, unassuming neighborhood in Delhi, and investigators are faced with a literal paradox. 11 members, one house, zero signs of forced entry. I mean, at first glance, the numbers just don't add up, right? How in the world does an entire extended family lose their lives in a single night without a single trace of an outside threat? You might be wondering, who were these people? Well, the Bhatia family wasn't isolated or marginalized in any way. They lived right in the heart of Burari, North Delhi. We're talking about a multi-generational household, a grandmother, her kids, and grandkids all living together under one roof. And they were highly integrated into their community. They ran a super successful grocery and plywood business. Seriously, if you ask the neighbors, they tell you the family was friendly, well-respected, and totally financially stable. This wasn't a family hiding in the shadows. They had this pristine, successful public image, which honestly makes the gruesome reality of what happened to them so much more jarring to try and comprehend. The timeline of that morning started just like any other in this bustling neighborhood. That is, until a neighbor noticed something completely out of character. The Bhatias hadn't opened their shop. Because they were so remarkably reliable, that one little detail was enough to make the neighbor go check on them. And upon entering the house, they made a chilling, just devastating discovery. All 11 family members were found deceased inside. Naturally, the police were called immediately, and a massive investigation kicked off into what, at least initially, looked like a horrifying mass crime. But here's where things get strange. As investigators dug into the scene, they almost immediately hit a brick wall. First off, there were absolutely zero clear signs of forced entry. We're talking no broken windows, no smashed locks, nothing. Second, they instantly pulled local CCTV footage from the surrounding area, right? They scoured hours of tape looking for anyone coming or going, but nothing. The footage showed zero suspicious visitors approaching the house before the incident. It was an incredibly perplexing dead end. Systematically, piece by piece, the physical evidence was making this look like a completely impossible crime scene. So this leaves investigators staring down one incredibly chilling question. If no outsiders entered that house, what actually happened? I mean, how do 11 people pass away in a locked environment? At this point, you really can't view this as a standard homicide investigation anymore. Instead, the police had to completely pivot. They had to turn inward and begin this deep, psychological excavation of the family's totally private life behind closed doors. And that brings us to the absolute turning point of the entire investigation. While conducting this incredibly thorough search of the home, the authorities recovered something that changed literally everything. They found handwritten notebooks. Now, these weren't just your standard run-of-the-mill daily journals. Stacked via a small makeshift temple area in the home, these books became the crucial, defining piece of evidence. They shifted the entire trajectory of this case from a standard murder mystery to this profound, honestly haunting exploration of the human mind. You see, these diaries weren't some sudden, recent development. They actually contained highly detailed writings spanning across 11 years. 11 years. And what they revealed was a hidden internal world that the neighbors literally never saw. The writings showed that the family had developed these intensely private shared beliefs around very specific spiritual practices. Crucially, though, the text reflected the overwhelming influence of just one family member, a man named Lalit. The entries detailed Lalit's steadfast belief that his deceased father was actively communicating through him, basically guiding the entire household's actions. The notebooks even detailed specific, step-by-step instructions for a banyan tree ritual. They dictated exactly how family members should stand to mimic the hanging roots of the tree, which, tragically, mirrored the exact scene investigators walked into. This unprecedented discovery led mental health experts to bring a very specific clinical term into the conversation, folie à plusieurs. It translates from French to madness of many. Basically, it's a shared psychotic disorder where delusions or irrational beliefs are actively transmitted from one primary individual to others within a really closely knit group. Experts suggested this profound psychological anomaly might actually be at play here. It offered a framework, a way to understand how an entire family could collectively participate in such an unthinkable act, all under the supreme direction of a single figure. But wait, we need to be clear here. This is an incredibly complex and not universally definitive interpretation. While the whole easy categorization. And honestly, this case perfectly illustrates the massive divide between fact and fiction. Because when the news of this spread rapidly across India, it just fueled these rampant public rumors. We're talking stories of black magic, curses, and wild conspiracies circulating online like wildfire. The media circus was absolutely deafening. But when you look at the investigation's reality, it painted a completely different picture. The police found absolutely zero evidence supporting claims of outsiders carrying out any kind of ritual killing. None. Those rumors were completely debunked by the concrete evidence found by investigators, and that evidence pointed strictly to an internal, psychological tragedy driven by shared delusion. Which leads us to this very somber reality. The Burari deaths remain one of India's most haunting family tragedies. It really forces us to look past that initial mystery, to look past the sensational headlines, and just recognize the profound loss of life here. 11 individuals, an entire cross-section of a family spanning multiple generations, are just gone. It is a tragedy in the absolute truest sense of the word. So while the authorities concluded there was no outside murder, the case doesn't just neatly close. It connects right back to us, raising some really difficult questions that have immense societal relevance. We have to consider the incredible impact of family dynamics, right? Like how isolated a group can become, hiding in plain sight even in a bustling city of millions. We have to deeply question the boundaries of belief. And, most importantly, this whole thing highlights the unseen realities of mental health struggles. It shows us so tragically that severe psychological distress can easily hide right behind the facade of a friendly, financially stable, perfect-seeming family. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. How well do we truly understand the boundaries of belief and the hidden dynamics within our very own families? This explainer isn't just about a singular event in Delhi. It's a mirror. It's reflecting the immense fragility of mental health and the incredibly powerful secrets that can reside just behind closed doors. Thank you so much for joining me, and take some time today to really reflect on what we've unpacked here.